And in fact, although I'm going to demo in charcoal, you know, anyone can do this in pencil if they want. But Tina, by the way, very nice work on that Venice Canal. I don't know how long that took.
It took much longer than a class, but it was fun. So I was applying everything I had learned in class. So it was fun.
That's excellent. That's really excellent. Yeah. So I don't know if any of you saw it, but she did the same Venice Canal that we did in charcoal in pencil. And it was impressive. It was impressive. So one of the things I'm thinking as I'm trying to impart drawing skills to you guys is kind of trying to, and one of the things that's really great about cars is trying to impart this concept that although we are working on a flat surface, there are sides to every subject, right? There's more than one side. And cars are confusing to people because it's unclear like where the sides of the car are. So before we get started on this one, which we're gonna do, I thought it was just a cool looking thing, we're gonna look at and very quickly do a quick sketch of like the sides of a car from the same position. So even though this one isn't exactly in the same position, you're going to see some similarities to the way a car is structured. Does that make sense when I tell you like sides of the car? So for example, we like to think of the side of the car as like here, right? The front of the car. But that's not actually true. The front of the car is here, and then there's another side. Switch a side in very simple terms. In very simple terms, where's my pencil? Pencil. Oh, on the front. Simple terms, right? Here's a cube. This is one side. This is another side. This is the third side, right? And then there's three sides that we can't see. There's a side here, there's a side here, and then there's this side behind here. If we were to sketch it, it would look like this. Right? There's that side. And so, but the challenge is we're working with a flat surface, right? So sides are important because they show shifts in light. And so when you're trying to convey 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional form, you need to know the sides, where the sides are, and where the sides change, so that you can like adequately convey you know, this sense of 3 dimensions. So if we're looking at this car, this is just this is a great website if you're looking for like kind of pretty much anything. And you can see the kind of finished cars here. So even though this car is in a different angle from ours here, you can see it's the same, pretty much the same position. The front of the car is here, right? And the side of the car is here. So this is the side, this is the front. So let's practice sketching in a simplified way. Let me see. I'm going to sketch this really. Use this. So I want you to start by, we'll all practice sketching this car. We're not going to do the whole thing. We're just going to do. So here's the front.
Leah, the camera's not in focus.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, don't know why that's happening.
I thought that was just me. I was like, is it my eyes?
No, it's acting weird. How's that? Better?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just starting over here. Here is the front, right? This is the front. And then we've got that line at an angle, this line at an angle, And then this line, although it looks like it's going straight, if you look at it, you'll see that it's not. See how it's rising up? It's a little hard to see. Here, I'm going to redraw it. Here we go. There we go. Right? So the side is kind of, oops, I can see I totally did this one. This is also at an angle. And this is also a little bit of an angle. Right? So when I draw this line, straight, but when I draw this line, it's curved up.
Presumably, Leah, these two front sides that you corrected the angle of, it's simply because it's a car that's like that, right? It's slanted, but otherwise they would be as you had them, no?
No, this is always the way it is because of perspective. This is always the way it is because of perspective.
Even if it was a box.
That's a good question. We'll take a look at it and we'll see how it applies to this car, but no, in general.
As you can see that car, it's got slanted front, but if it was like a box, a matchbox, you would have been correct.
In boxing it more, perhaps. I wouldn't get too worried about that.
Okay.
I would, yeah, because the shifts will be very light, right? Like as you can see here, as you can see here, yeah, this is mostly a straight down. It's slightly angled. And a little tiny shift in the angle this way or that way will shift it. So yeah, I mean, one of the things, and actually I'm looking at this and going, oh yeah, I need to shift that also. So the tricky thing with cars is to get the angles right. The other thing that's good to check is that you'll see that the front of the car is, because this is the thing that's closest to us, this front of the car is the same distance as the whole back of the car, right? So here I'm measuring. So not only have I made my car angle up, I'm kind of measuring to make sure that this line and this line are the same distance. And Sandra, I really like these questions. Keep them coming because this is starting to write. What I want you to do is be thinking, it's good to thinking about applying how things look on a two-dimensional surface. So I've got this here, this is slightly angled up. And then this, let's see, we've got this kind of comes straight across like that. And then it goes down pretty significantly on the side. So this is where people find cars hard, right? You're kind of, it's easy to miss those slants and those angles. It's easy to miss all the sides of the car because there's a lot of sides to a car. We've got this one. There's even more sides to this car, but these are just the first structures. So let me take a picture of this, and then I'd love to see you guys get your sketches in. Oh, somebody probably has already sent theirs in. Oh, no, I see. Okay, here is my sketch. So intellectually, and I'm just looking to see how much, oh yeah, it's even more, we're gonna have an even more extreme angle of perspective with the car that we're working on, but the principle is the same. Actually, let me look at that again.
Sunny, you are bad to this.
Diana, how go subscription sales? Did you sell a table?
Yeah, I've actually sold sponsorship packages for about 20,000.
All right.
Yeah, but I need to to sell for 50,000 to break our even.
Got it.
But you're having to do everything.
Huh?
You're having to do everything.
Yeah. Yeah, she does everything. All right, so let's see, Bettina. 1, 2. Yep, that's good.
I don't write the articles in the program book.
So Bettina, you're kind of missing this area here, right? This is so this needs to come out. So this needs to come out a little bit further. You're going to see in the next step of this drawing that we're going to create more planes. And so right now, I'm going to show you what yours is doing. You're doing this. You're doing this, which is shortening this side and lengthening this side. Bring this line down and this line angled out just a bit more.
Okay.
See, it's hard. It's like really hard. It's hard to do this. This is why I'm like, I want us to, and you'll see it. So what's happening is you're kind of forgetting about this side, right? This side is here. And this is totally okay, by the way, of course, right? This is what I expect. And that's why, this is why cars are hard. So I'm like, let's do a little tiny practice before we get into the idea of cars. Also, there's this thing happening, slant up. And that is because of perspective. So the side of a thing, whether it's a house, whether it's a cube, right? Whether it's a cube, whether it's a house, whether it's a tree, whether it's anything, a picnic basket, a car, the side of the thing, that if something's sitting on the ground and you're looking at it from the front, will always rise up. A road, that is just sort of generally true. Let's see, Rashmi. Okay, so Rashmi, once again, you are also the problem here. One.
I tried correcting it once you, as you were.
All right, correct it and send it back. Right, you know, often. Like,
what else? I mean, I angled it out a little more, but what else can I do?
Let's see. Hold on. I'm looking at Bettina's. Now I'm looking at Catherine's. Catherine's not bad, but don't jump in too much, Catherine.
Okay.
Only because. So this angle here, I'm going to tell you, is also a little bit off. So this angle needs to be coming. Your angle also goes up a bit more, like that, which shortens the front. So this angle needs to come a little bit more this way. So get rid of your wheel wells. We'll get there. We'll get there, I promise. But otherwise, looks pretty good. Jackie, that looks pretty good. Good job. Looks pretty good. Christina, looks good, Christina. Julia, this looks good and yours looks a little bit sportier than ours does. Basically, it's because you narrowed in, this came down a little bit lower, right? Which is cool with me, but look at the difference. Look at how that shifts and changes things. Very nice, you guys. All right, so here's two in the structure, right? Now I need to add more sides, right? Because this is a side, this is a side, and then there's wheels, and what are those sides doing? So here, oops, hold on. Yeah, I'm just so frustrated by my lighting. I can never really seem to, sorry, I'm just redrawing out what you can't see. That's a weird thing.
Leah, what did I need to fix?
Does it look right?
No, you told me there are some things that I need to fix, but you said.
I thought you said you were fixing it.
No, I just widened that front line. What, anything apart from that?
I can't see it, so you need to send it to me again. Oh, I see. Your window. Let's see. 1, 2. It looks pretty good. I feel like this line needs to come a little bit to the right.
Okay.
Because this window is shorter.
Yeah.
Yours looks longer. So this one needs to angle this way more. Yours is more straight, which is making
Yeah.
this side too big.
Oh.
Yep. Okay. I'm laughing at yours, Julia. It's so sporty. Right. So as we start to go in here, right, we've got this side. And then notice these sides are not the same. There's actually, look at what's happening. The tail light is kind of drifting a little bit into the side of the front tail light here, or headlight here is drifting into the side a little bit. Right? We've got this kind of boxy hexagon thing. Oops, let's come in a little bit more. This is super hard. This is why we're doing this. I'm so glad we're doing this. Notice that angles are not the same generally on each side. It's not like you're doing an equal. This one, this angle comes out a little bit wider. Notice there's more space on this side, right? Here's the rear view mirror. Here's, oh, sorry, we're not there yet. We're up here. We're up here. I should cover that. Let's keep that clean. Because I don't want you to jump ahead. So there's a lot of shifts and perspective changes happening. Now, part of the reason we change subjects is all the time is so that you guys can start to learn and kind of apply this across the board, right? So I don't expect you to always be able to, you know, of course, there's no expectation. What I'm hoping is that almost like a language, you're learning to apply drawing rules and they make more sense to you. Okay, so on this side, there's a curved line that goes like this, doesn't even go all the way. On this side, this is not a round, this is a circle, but it's not a round circle. And this is key here, it's an oval, and it lines up with this one. So here, I'm gonna bring this down, up here. Getting tire shapes is also tricky. And then getting tire sizes is tricky, right? Because this one does not line up with this one. Here's the bottom here. And here's the bottom here. So when I come back here, right, these two line up, but this comes up, this probably ends here. Right.
Maybe a question. Is it oval because of perspective? Because if the car wouldn't run with oval wheels, right?
Yes, it's oval because of perspective. Exactly. That's why it's tricky, right? It's oval because of perspective. And notice that this back wheel is up a little higher, but also smaller. That is also because of perspective.
So Lee, I have a question. Last night I was looking at a chair in a corner of a room.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, Like if there was a vanishing point when you're looking into a corner of the room, and I thought to draw it, is there a vanishing point or is it just foreshortening? Like,
Some parts have vanishing points. It depends on where your eye level is, right? And it depends on whether things, just like buildings, are there sides? So this has perspective. That's why this angle is not the same as this one, right? This angle and this angle are not the same level of steepness, meaning as they go up, they will meet,
oh,
right?
so a vanishing point could be off the page.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It often is. Isn't that awesome? Right? And this one too, right? These are a different one. This is a different vanishing point because this is a whole different side. So yeah, each of what you're picking up is that each of these angles, depending on what you're drawing. So the trunk here has one angle, just like the cube, the top of the cube, right, has one vanishing point. And this also will go to the same one. But let's see, where is it? Cube. Cube has two vanishing points. I haven't really drawn it correctly, so you can see it that way.
That's okay. It's already helpful.
Already helpful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The vanishing point will go off the page, and when you start like measuring things, see, this is why. And right. So when you start measuring things like in life, you're going to have to just figure out by holding your here. Let me show you this. You know, you're going to figure things out. Here, hold on. I'm going to add the spotlight. Right. So you see people, right? Everybody sees people do this all the time, and this, squinting and wondering what you're doing. What you're doing is measuring angles and vanishing points. You're doing two things. You're measuring, sometimes you're measuring sizes of things, right? Proportions of things. And the other thing you're doing is you're checking your angles. Are they this way? And the trick is you have to keep your arms straight, right? Because what happens is we tend to drift our pencil like to follow the 3D object, right? Like this. So let's see. It's really hard to figure out how to show this. So, like we'll tend to drift. So I need to keep my pencil like a windshield wiper. I can only go this way and this way. But what happens is when we look at 3D objects, we tend to try and follow them with our pencil, which will give us the wrong angle. Okay. The pitfalls of using this thing. So you're kind of holding your arm straight. It's real key to hold your arm straight and keep your hand just going like this. Whoopsie, I'm looking at the camera. So just like this. Once I start to drift like this, I'm not measuring the angle correctly anymore. Here's how it looks from this. Here's how it looks from me. Right. So holding your arm straight and just, it always helped me to think windshield wiper.
Yeah.
Windshield,
Or like odometer or something.
right? Windshield wiper.
Yeah.
Because we're working with a flat surface, right? So we can't draw this way. But your brain, your left brain wants to try and follow the line like this, right? And then you're trying to translate that over here, but it doesn't work because we can only draw on a flat surface. So our angles become steeper, think like this, right? Like this comes up, this comes up. Great. By the way, wonderful questions today, you guys. I'm really loving it. Here, let me get us back. That aside. Oops, here. There we go. And go ahead and send it. Sorry, I think we've got it now. And Christina, I'm really appreciating your language.
Thank you.
Because, oh, this is slightly lower. That's right. So there's like a vanishing point for the above and the below, right? right? There's a vanishing point here. There's a million different vanishing points happening with these, with all these different pieces in these sides. I know this isn't quite straight, but sorry, I'm still trying. I know I'm fiddling with this. I'm trying to get into I'm gonna make it small. Okay. Anyway, go ahead and
The windshield is funky, right? It's not like a,
yep. Everything is angled.
yeah.
Everything is angled, and if you look, this angle is steeper. This
Yeah.
comes up a little more. So Rashmi, do you see the Jackie, Rashmi? Both of you need to adjust your angles here. They are not the same. This one's steeper because everything's going to a single vanishing point, which means they can't be parallel. Jackie, let's see. Jackie, your car window needs to come back a little bit this way because your window,
When you say back, so you mean a bigger
I mean,
angle?
angle to the right. You're kind of up here. And
Yep.
also look at the space between, you should have a little
Oh, yeah.
between your cars, which means this probably needs to be a little bit wider. This needs to be a little bit bigger. Look
Mhm.
at
Oh, I see. Yeah.
almost all of you are gonna see.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me get back to WhatsApp. Let's see. Julia. Yeah, that's looking pretty good, Julia. Pretty good. We're not going to go much farther than this. I'm wanting you to just understand. So Catherine, let's see here. So you're, Catherine, kind of tilting up on this side.
Okay.
Straight across. You're doing this.
Ah,
Okay. And you're
Yeah.
also coming down a little bit too. And you're also tilting here. This is not straight. This is going down. So this needs to
okay.
out. And this needs to switch out. So all the horizontal lines on a side are straight. They're parallel. It's the vertical lines that are going at angles. Not bad, Julia. Let's see, this is that. Wait, I can't see who's is whose. And Bettina, you're having the same problem. Right? So there's this happening. So this angle people aren't getting right. The angle from the top here, and then this needs to be a little bit more extreme, right? So your window on the side is kind of smaller. Yeah. Your front is way, your front is somehow too short, or it's not too short. Something's off. Yeah, it's really connected to these two. So the people who are having whose windows seem to be going too long, it's this piece and this piece that you have to look at. The top of the hood and the windshield. This needs to come into the side more. And then your windows aren't, this is not going to look so long. This side should look shorter. And it looks shorter because here is this side in the front coming out a little bit. Most of you are doing this and that. So now you have all this extra space on your side. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying the car you sent around.
And Rashmi, you're having the same issue here. There shouldn't be so much space between your two. You see, this should be, you've got this going on. You've somehow got I think it's coming from here. You've got this going on, right? And then look at this shouldn't be so long. This should be a shorter side. And then this should be closer. That means this should be closer together. So somehow, I think you guys who are doing this long side are going too far down, which means we don't have enough space up here, right? This should be taller. It's hard.
Shouldn't the front, but you said the front and the side lengthwise would be same, right?
Yeah, the front here, down here, these two lines, but these lines up here extend the front longer.
Okay.
And
But the bottom lines are equal in size, but at an angle, right?
this one is at an angle, this one's straight.
But lengthwise, they are same?
Lengthwise, this and this, I want you to measure it. You've got it right here, measure.
I measured.
Yeah, lengthwise, you can answer these questions. Lengthwise, these are measured. But the problem you're all having is this area here and this area here. You don't know, you're pulling them too much towards the front to line up with this. And what you can see is that the front extends further out. Look, here's the front here, but then this front extends out further on the top. So if you draw a line, straight line here, right? You have this shape. This line comes out further than most of you have it. And that is the problem that you're having with this shape on the side. That's why this is looking too long. It's only down here. So here, the front kind of bleeds out over onto this part of, this is the front, sure, but the front actually also, this is really the side, and this is all the front. Whoops. I know it's hard. It helps to look at each of these shapes and check them to see if you got them right. And then the last bits, for those who want to do this, are here, right? Curved lines. Here's the bottom of my tire. Here's the bottom of my tire. Oops, this needs to be smaller. Right here. I put in everybody's mistakes and now I don't know where my car looks anymore, right? There's a shape here. There's a shape here. There's a shape here. This is as far as we're going to go with this. Notice the headline here is shorter than here. So I want you guys to really, what I think the disconnect that's happening is that you're stopping with your measuring here, as opposed to constantly reviewing shapes and pieces, right, in relation to each other. Although this is the same as this is not the same as this. This is wider than this section. So up here, there's a different, right, rule. I think the left brain desperately wants to grab onto one rule and apply it across the board. It's more complicated than that. Jackie, that's not bad, but this line has to come out more of an angle. You're a little bit too boxy up. This needs to come more to the right.
Okay.
Otherwise,
I'm just smoking on my coffee here.
yeah, I got you. Look at good job.
You mind looking at mine, Leah? Oh, sorry, it's Christina.
Looking, where is yours? Let's see. Yeah. That looks pretty good, but you also are kind of suffering from blocking off. If you draw a line straight down here,
Yeah.
you're going to see that this section is too short. So you need
Oh, okay.
and that will solve your length problem in the back.
Okay.
And Bettina, I'd say the same thing for you. Catherine, you still need to fix this line. It's going at an angle. It should be straight.
Okay.
So Rashmi, this line is not straight. It's going at an angle down like this. So this line is straight. This line is at an angle up. So this is like a very wide angle line in which this side is straight and this goes up. It's better. Much better. Draw a line, you guys, straight down from here. From this side, right, this front area, which we've defined, and then look at this piece of the windshield and this piece of the front windshield. And you're going to see that's okay. This is hard. That's why we're doing it. This is like a cube times 200. There's many different shifts happening.
Yeah. I'm trying the car you sent out.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna struggle with this unless you're gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. This is a hard one. It's hard. Catherine, look at what's happening here. You have this line. All your horizontal lines are rising up. This line and this line and this line need to be straight across.
Okay.
Every single one of them. And look at what it does when it does that, right? Like it makes this too big. It makes your windshield too small. Yep. You're getting there, guys. Let's see. Bettina. Believe it or not, Bettina, this slants even more to the right than you have it. See, you have this, which creates something that looks sort of boxier. This is happening. Also, this line is rising up and it should be straight. And I think also, Bettina, this line needs to be a little bit more slanted to the right. Both these diagonals. Also, this.
My head is breaking down.
I know. We can just stick with this car. We don't have to do this one, and we can stick with pencil. If you guys want to, we can just do this car all the way through.
I'm gonna try to do the other.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
like this one.
I'm fine. I'm learning. I'm definitely learning.
right. We
Yeah.
don't have to do this car. We don't have to do this car. We could totally just walk through this one. We've got
Mhm.
Let's just walk through this one. I think you're all having a bit of trouble, so I think it would be good for us to walk through this one. We're going to walk through this one. So,
Yeah,
what,
I sent you again. Now,
okay, what I want you to do is tell me, oh, that's looking good, Diana. What I want to tell me to do is, does it look right to you?
Now I just measured with a scale as well. It's a straight line at the bottom, which was,
Okay, but this has also got to be a straight line. This one across. Does it look right to you is my question.
it's better than before for sure.
Better than before, yes, but it doesn't quite look right? So
I mean-
I want you to identify, I want you to start figuring out where are the areas. And I also think, Bettina, I'm going to tell you this, that you're on this side, this doesn't stick out enough here. This is too small. Your triangle is too small. This thing is too small, right? This side has to be smaller. Yeah, we're just going to stick with this car today.
Oh, good.
Because I think we're not ready for this card yet. It's okay. This is a Drawing Made Easy class, right? And this is definitely, I want you guys to stick with this while we start to study, like these ideas. So let me make sure you have this as where I'm gonna take a picture of this, so you all have it, the final. Yeah, I want you to look at your shapes. I think you guys are perfectly at this point of being able to say, does this look right or not? So I'm gonna start asking you, if it doesn't look right, tell me where it doesn't look right. Because, there we go. Here's the final. So if you want to keep going, keep going. But no,
Hi to my friends. Look who came to visit. Look who came to visit.
hi, sweetie. Hi, Julia. It's like my life is so awful.
Oh, Julia.
This is
Yeah, poor
terrible. I
Julia.
did not sign up for this.
Exactly.
So you guys have the kind of finished drawing. I want you to keep working on sketching it in. And I want you to, so Rosh, want you to look at, when you send me something, I want you to go, does it look right? And if it doesn't look right, I want you to point it to me where it doesn't look right. Then we can evaluate what's going on. So, yeah. Part of what's happening here for you, Rashmi, is this isn't high enough.
Yeah, I just realized that.
Yeah, so I want you to, yeah. It's all right, Osiris, it's in the general idea of what we're doing. As I start to go in here, let's see, so I'm adding. So as I add this in, I realize, oh, interesting, that this actually, I have this piece a little bit too big. So one of the things that this line helps me see is what's on this side. And actually what I've had too big is this thing. So I'm bringing that in a little bit so I have room. For my headlight to fit here. And then I have room for this piece to fit down here. We can try working on this one next week if we feel like that is something we want to do, or I can find another drawing like this that we can work on together.
I kind of like this old car, but it's really difficult.
For obvious reasons, yes.
But it's really cool.
It is really cool. So, but it's good for them. I think it might be fun to do this. Maybe we'll try this. Anyway, let's just see where we get to. I want you guys to keep going. Let me know if anybody's bored. That's right.
Not yet.
I'll give you another assignment. Keep working. Julia, you seem to be kind of whipping through this fairly quickly. So if you do, you are welcome to jump into the bigger car. So let me take a picture of that. Whoops.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I can't guarantee it's going to be any good though.
I want to see your finish. I want to see this finish first, and then we'll have you start to structure this. Okay, but I'd like to see, are you finished with this first? Have you gotten it to this point?
It is super many angles.
There's just a lot of planes, right? There's a lot of planes. So I'm going to send this across for anybody who thinks you've got this. So you've got it here if anybody wants to try it. But most of you, I want to see, just keep sending me your cars. So as you can see, I'm adding in these things. I'm adding in my license plate. Notice that some sort of nuanced shaping is happening on the sides as you get more detail. Notice that as I'm putting in one piece, I'm looking at how it relates to the piece. When I'm correcting, I'm looking at how it relates to the piece next to it. That's what's helping me. So if I'm like, whoa, these cars are, this is way too far back. If that's happening for me, then like, I know I need to adjust it to help the shape next to the thing I'm trying to draw. That's where you really start to get skill as a drawer, is when you understand that concept, right? Everything is relational to everything else. I love that question, Christina. Are these tires really oval? Gonna go.
Been a long week.
I love that. How is that car gonna go on an oval?
This car, just when I thought I had it figured out.
There's a lot to it. Because every time things change angles, right, in forms, there's a different logic set. So your survival mechanism as a drawer is to really look at shapes and how they relate to each other. So as I'm drawing this front section, I'm paying attention to how much space I need for my back section. What I can immediately see is I need a little bit more space in my back section. So I'm bringing this up here, right? I'm not just continuing on with my front section and then wondering why my back section looks right. As I'm adding this line in, I'm looking and going, oh yes, there needs to be this much space and then this is a little bit less, but still this much space. So that's what like really being a good drawer is. You're looking at both the thing you're drawing and how that line is going to impact everything else.
Mm-hmm. I have this habit too of once I think I've got the shape down, then I darken the line so I don't get lost. And now I have,
some lines that are wrong.
that
right?
need erasing. Yeah.
Yep. Welcome to the world of drawing.
Yeah, that's where I am. I put my lights far too low.
Right. Diana's trying to eyeball this, and we know what a good drawer she is, and she can't. She just can't eyeball this. Like, it's not something that you, because there are too many factors at play that affect it.
He's doing the hard car.
What?
What I can do with acrylic,
The hard
I
car.
adjust.
Right. But my point is,
Yeah.
you're not really able to eyeball it.
No.
You're not really able to. You have to start measuring. You're being forced to, because you just can't see, right?
Deceptively simple.
It's yeah, not even deceptively simple. It's really hard. Evilly hard, right? So I'm glad we did this. I'm glad I pulled this out. I thought this would just be our beginning exercise, but there's a lot going on here.
You overestimated us, Leah.
I overestimated myself. How is that?
It's
But
fun.
it's more like, but yeah, I like to have like these, I think this is really instructional, and even if you don't get it right. And if you're really feeling annoyed, start over. Right? Literally start over. Oh yeah, and look at what I did. So I made that mistake. I made a big mistake. I made a big mistake. So here and here. Interesting. So here. So do you guys see the mistake I just made? I totally had my wheel way too far back. My wheel needs to come right up against this line. I didn't have that. Although he didn't have that either, to be really perfectly fucking honest. This was back here. But up here, as I put my line in, the wheel well comes further. That's annoying. See, I hate step-by-steps that are wrong, where they change it. But anyway, here we are, moving this back to where it should be. That makes it bigger. That brings this over here. So if you're confused by that, that is, that happened. They had you place the initial wheel here, and then they had you add the extra stuff to build it up to this line, which we've drawn. So that is my problem. So part of it is this wheel is much bigger. So see, I make the mistakes too. And the way to fix them is to look at kind of where things are in relation to my guidelines. Right. I guess technically it wasn't a mistake. Technically the circle gets brought to the left with more rings. Yeah, still, when I'm looking at this, he moved it. Or she, whoever did this.
Oh.
So I am still adjusting my lines as I'm going through and adding elements here. Let me stop and take a picture of this so you can see where I'm at. And then I'm going to stop and look at what you guys are doing. Okay. Oops. Actually, I took a picture of it and then I realized there was a slight problem, so I'm going to fix it first. Sketched over this so much. Okay, here we go. So here's where I am. Here, by the way, I'm going to point to where they had us put our initial wheel here. And here is where the wheel really needs to be, this front wheel. You're going to see that makes that wheel bigger, but that's actually how it's working. And it's been quiet, so you can totally send stuff over the thread if you want help with it. But I also do really challenge you, take a look and see, can I figure out what's going on? I keep shortening this more and more, so I can see that this guy, yep, really, this headlight on the right, on our right, is really much longer, takes up a lot more real estate. You'll hear painters and drawers use that a lot. Real estate. Like, what do we mean by that? What we mean is it takes up a lot of space in a painting. So, right? So it's helpful to think about real estate. Like, how much does this shape take up? How much does this shape take up? Where is this? So if you have a lot of real estate in a painting, if a shape does, you want to make pretty dang sure that you know, you've given it the right real estate, and if it's a real estate that's kind of closer to you or takes up a lot, that it gets kind of more of the, you know, attention to detail. You'll notice that there's pieces of paintings that don't really require that much work. Right? We think they do, like tree lines in a back forest. The back tree line of a forest doesn't generally require that much, doesn't take up that much real estate, and it's not close to us, so we don't need so much detail. So it's a funny term. I think it's a funny term, but I think real estate is a really funny way. So I'm like, this headlight is taking up a lot of real estate, more than I think, because this one's so short. So. Okay, so Catherine, I think this is, so another measurement you want to try is look and see how high up, if you look at this from here to here,
Yep.
it's exactly the same height as here, here,
Yep.
here to here, which means this is pretty much divided in half, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
this look not correct? Right.
Yes.
While your measurement is right, you want to divide this a little bit. This shouldn't be, this is taking up too much real estate right now.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. I was too close to it.
Yeah. We're all too close to it, right? And this line is also a really helpful line to have. Drop this line in, because this line, and I'm going to send this to you guys with this line, so this line will really help you. So this is once again our dividing line between the front and the back. Right? This hasn't changed, but what's kind of next to it, near it. Let me bring this up a little bit. You'll notice I'm adjusting mine as I go. There's a constant adjustment that's happening. I noticed I had a little too much real estate on this side of the line, so I'm shifting it. Hold on, Julia. So what, Julia, draw this line here. And yeah, and use that to help you figure out. I think you need to squeeze things a little bit to the left here. And notice where the wheel is in relation to this line. So I'm going to send this over to you guys so that you have it with the line, because I think this structure line, which of course isn't really in the drawing, but is here, is helpful in helping you judge. It's a little bit like how we do figure drawing, right? We have a plumb line and then we decide what's on this side and what's on this side. Now we do know that these sides are equal in distance, in width, right? So now we can figure out what's happening on this side and what's happening on this side. And part of your confusion is that this is not a fair step by step because he moved this thing. He moved these wheels.
I think mine is, because I went a bit too sporty in the beginning, my kind of line is sloping rather than straight, if that makes sense. Under the
sloping, but mostly look at what's happening here. Here's where I think you're having your biggest problem, and here, and here. This is taking almost a third of the grill. 1, 2, 3. You will see that yours is taking more. This is kind of maybe a quarter of the grill. But this takes up a third of the grill.
Okay.
Those two shapes.
I'll tweak.
And look at them, and this stops right here at this line, this halfway point. Notice also the tire comes over. See? That's why I'm saying this helps to have this line. So this is the line, the division between the bottom front and the bottom side. Not the top, because the top side comes out a little bit further. And that tells you kind of how far things go. But bottom front, bottom side, this is the same. So what's on this side? What's on that side? Let's see. Better, Jackie. So this is a little bit too round, right? Because look at where it is in relation to your window.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
See, I'm telling you, you have to constantly be thinking.
Yep.
Yep. This is what we're doing. But you guys are getting better. It's getting better. They're getting better. So much fun. Sometimes we work on something not for it to be perfect, but for us to make every mistake in the book so that we can start to see how our brains try to translate what's happening. This is why a lot of artists aren't great teachers, because they might know it, but they can't explain it. This is why you're lucky you have me, because drawing was natural to me. I had to start to learn. Was never a natural process. Painting is a very natural process for me. I do it like I breathe. So it's harder for me sometimes to say, well, just paint it, you know? But drawing was never like that. Never. For me, I was this is.
You're reminding me, Leah, of my art class when I was 15, and my teacher, he used to come in with his smock and go in the corner and do his like sculpture.
Right.
And he would like put something in the middle and go, just paint it.
Just
I don't remember.
It never told me anything about how to paint it, right?
Gave me any feedback, nothing.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there, right, to unpack. Like teaching artists are always resentful of their students, not because the students have done anything wrong, but because every minute that takes away from your own work is like frustration, right? This is why I don't teach full time. I'm an artist and a teacher, but I don't really get frustrated because I'm just 2 hours a day here, and then 2 to 3 hours a day, and then I can do my other things. So that's part of it. Part of it is there's always that frustration. But the other thing is that it really is hard to describe what's going on. Right? It's really hard to describe these things. I mean, I challenge you to try to describe it to your kid or like to anybody else. And by the way, I still don't have this exactly right either. So I'm still playing with these angles, right? It's very hard to find the words to put on what's happening. That's why when you guys come up with something, like when Sandra was asking these very intuitive questions at the beginning of class, and Christina's like, oh, that's, you know, when you're saying, when you can see, oh yeah, it's not an oval wheel, but it looks like an oval wheel. That's huge, right? That is our language that we use to describe it. It's really hard. There are some days I do better at it and some days I'll be worse at it, but I'm definitely better at drawing just because. And for me, two things have always really helped me. And one is looking at the shapes in relation to others. So when I add this line, which I put in the wrong place, I'm also thinking about what's happening here and what's happening here. So I'm thinking about that as part of my process. I'm not just thinking about getting that line and getting it right. I'm thinking about the line and what it's going to do to everything else on this whole side of the drawing. And once you really understand that, it will make drawing easier. The other thing that's really helped me is honestly this windshield wiper idea. Does everybody get what I mean by that? What I mean is all your angles, anytime you measure something on a flat surface, it has to be, your pencil has to be flat. I vividly remember being in my first drawing class at 32 or 33, and I had a teacher who put a bunch of boxes in front of us and said, draw them. And I drew them as if my pencil could go this way. I know exactly what I did wrong. Teacher could not tell me. He was just like, oh I don't know. And I'm like, I know what's going on. I'm getting the angle wrong because as I follow it back, I'm no longer working flat.
You know, the worst thing about doing art for me was because I just didn't know what I was doing wrong and there was no feedback. But then the guy who was taking your class, because it was all coursework based,
Right.
he was the one who graded you. So he'd go, well, that's crap. But then he wouldn't tell you why.
You're like, how to fix it? And you're like,
Dude,
you suck. Right. But it's not everybody's good at it. Not everybody is good at A, not everybody's good at teaching. And B, there's a kind of intellectual rigor that I find some artists really don't have. There is an intellectual discipline to what we're doing. It's an intellectual process that artists resist trying to define, but the more they do of it, the better it's going to be for them. So there's a whole intellectual reasoning thought process about why this is doing what it's doing. And you know, the more you do it, the more, you know, when you can put words on it, it's happier. This is why I love Betty Edwards' book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. I think she does a lot to explain the intellectual thought process of what's happening in your brain. It was one of the first books I read where I was like, oh, this totally makes sense. She's explaining to me why I think something is one thing and it's actually another. Right? This is it. So that's, I really respect people who are able to do that. Not everybody can. They're separate skills. As we learn in art, right, as we learn in work, as everything, no one's good at everything, right? If you're a manager of people, you know this very keenly, right? If you teach, you know this very keenly. No one's good at everything. So, including you, right? We are not good at everything. There are certain things that we're good at and certain things that we're not good at. So, it's just hard to be good, you know, it's like hard to, it's kind of, it's tough to know, where was I going with that? Jesus Christ, I hate being 50 something. This is like, I can't remember any train of thought, talk about intellectual processes. Stop I can't remember why I was saying that.
Because early Alzheimer's, that's all right.
Right. Yeah, I know it's a hormonal thing still. It's like really frustrating to me. I
Try
crash
being
my brain. I crash my brain. I love my brain and it bothers me when I can't get it to do what I want it to do.
Try being 70.
Yeah, right. It's just like more and more.
You lose words.
That's how but I feel like that's happening now, Catherine. I'm losing a lot.
Well, it's been a while. It's happened to me for a while.
It's really frustrating. Okay, let's see. Tina. Everything is very square on your car. Is there a reason for that?
You telling me, Rashmi?
Yeah, I'm saying everything's very square. can you see there's some sort of rounded
Yeah.
areas there? I think if you're engaging with the rounded areas, it's helping. It'll help.
Okay.
You're at a quarter. This is the same, the top and bottom here is the same as the top. The front of the grill here is the same height as the top and the bottom of here, as here and here, right? Everything's square. And your tire is a little bit square for what's actually happening. So try rounding a little bit more. I rounded the top.
Lines, so just to keep it.
Try rounding on the top and straight on the sides. So round, straight, round, straight, round, straight, right? That's how to really do an oval. It's like this, right? Straight on the sides and then round on the top. Right? Straight on the sides. Round on the top. Getting there, Julia. That looks pretty good. I mean, yeah. Do you want?
Wheels for me to adjusting.
I think notice where this wheel actually sits. It's kind of.
Yeah, back.
I'm just now trying to like, and I'm also wondering, your grill is too short. This here is the same, the height from here to here. I'll do this. The height from here to here is the same as the height from here to here.
I was doing my sporty thing again.
I'll
raise it up.
Just look at what's happening here. These go down and these lines, so these lines go down and these come up. So make sure you're reflecting that. It looks to me like your windows are going up here. Like that. Your
They
windows
are.
need to
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
I'm being really anal here. I'm not saying you didn't do a good job on this. I'm trying to really get you to see the details in the.
Like feedback. I gave up art at 15 because I didn't get any.
Okay, so Catherine, look what's happening here. Check this measurement.
Yes,
Also, you're really struggling to get a straight line here. I don't
I
know.
really am.
You're
I
really
took a ruler and I still can't do it.
at a straight line. Measure it from one side and the other. So measure a equal distance on this side, and then line your ruler up. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it.
Okay.
Yep.
I sent you mine.
Let's see. That's looking pretty good. I feel like, okay, so good. All right, good.
Funky.
Coming down. This is taking up, darn it, sorry, I click on something and then goes away on my phone. So a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
If you measure this, you'll see that this is not, so if you measure this, okay, so look at this. 1, 2. In fact, if you really are realistic, the grill is slightly taller than this line, this distance from here to here. So measure this distance from here. Oh yeah, that's actually true. So actually the grill is, I kind of told you guys mistakenly, I'm gonna have to fix that too. If you measure the grill from here to here, and you go up, look at how far up higher that is. So I have to fix that. Which means you have to fix that. If I have to fix it, you gotta fix it.
Say that again, please, the measurement.
Look at it. The grill
Yeah.
from here to there
Yeah,
right? If I go from here to here, so here's the top, here's the bottom. Look at how much higher it is.
I get it.
All right, got it?
Yeah,
To say, makes you guys feel better. I did the same thing. So it's easy to kind of drift up.
So my car's too tall, right?
You see what I just did?
Mhm.
I think that's not the right answer to that. That's not the right question to ask. If you ask that question, you're going to get lost. Look again. Here, right? If I go from here to here and I go up,
Mm-hmm.
then where does this line go in relation to that second?
Yeah.
But do you see why I'm saying to you, don't say to me, my car is too tall, because then you start fixing things that don't need fixing. You got to say, this piece is taller than this piece, right? Like, don't think generally, think specifically. Otherwise, you're screwed. Like, that's one of the things that screws you, is you get too hyper focused on the one thing, right? And then you can't fix anything because you fix the one thing and then it sets other things off. So it's not my car is too tall. It's this shape is taller than this shape. That's where your left brain, every time you try to call a thing what it is in drawing, you screw it up for yourself. You make it more difficult for you to be able to see what needs to be done. That is our biggest issue right there, is that it's you just think about it as shapes and relationships. Shapes, relationships. This is a straight line. This is kind of an angled line, slightly. This is a straight line. This is a straight line. Look at this shape in relation to this shape, in relation to this shape, right? All of these things. So you're getting there, but it's a lot of, first it feels scattershot, and then you're like, oh, this logically makes sense to me. You stop thinking about, is the car too tall? Is my leg too long? Is the arm in the wrong place? And you start thinking, this shape, this shape, this shape, this shape, this shape, this shape. You just start thinking shapes. That's when you know you're really thinking like an artist, when you're not even thinking about what the thing is. And that's why people have so much trouble with art, because once you're like, I can see, is the car the right height? You start to try and evaluate it from a left brain perspective, and you can't, which is all about identifying, calling things what they are, finding patterns and language to explain what it is you're looking at. Once you start to call the things what it is, it becomes very difficult. I think next week we'll try this car, but we might try gridding it in pencil before we try it as a charcoal. So, or I might bring in a grid, or maybe I won't bring in a grid, but like, I think we are going to try this car, but I think let's really focus on this time. But notice the intellectual process is, and I can remember what words I want to say and what ideas I want to go across, right? Is shapes are relational to everything else above them and next to them. So when you're adding a line, look at what that does to the shape next to you, next to your line.
So I have another question, Leah.
Yes.
So when I first looked at the car and I was trying to think like what this would be like to do in charcoal, I actually saw organic shapes, like really bulbous organic shapes that would just require different shading. So I was wondering if you were going to show, if we were going to draw it kind of like we did the blueberries, but with really big shapes.
Yeah, I think that was what I was thinking originally. The complication is that there are several light sources.
Mhm.
And this car has a very complex structure. It's not a flat, right? Things rise up. So yeah, we are going to try this, but I want you to intellectually, I knew people were going to start to get to problems when we got to here, when we got down here, when we got up here, right? I knew we were going to get to problems. Yes, there's definitely dark and light shapes. We can probably piece it together, but it helps for you to do this first to understand, like, even all this, like, here's kind of the front. Actually, really, here's really, I can see the front of the car because I can see that here is where the shadows change.
Right, I can see that.
Yeah,
So-
so
so
it's confusing. Yeah, so this kind of stuff is a little bit easier to see, but then you'll be, you know, this is a hard thing to do and to get it right. So I thought it would be better to start with this, just so you start to have the experience of, you know, how many changes are happening, even with this ability to do this. Yeah, actually, we will do this in charcoal next week. You're right. I think it'll be easier to do in charcoal. But we will talk about things like, okay, so let's see. So the front of the car is here, right? Kind of similar to that structure. And the side of the car, wow, look at, and because this car is so heavily angled, well, like there's this angle, right? And then the wheel comes down below that. We can barely even see the angle. And then, yeah. Let's do it. We will do that in charcoal, but we are still going to do the structural stuff. And then look at how many, 1, 2, 3. So if we were to divide this into quarters, 1/4 is the whole side of the car, and 3/4 is the front of the car. Right? So constantly, that's where how I want you guys thinking as we're starting to construct, is thinking about, it's almost like we're taking the car apart and we're putting it together, and we're taking it into pieces so you can't tell what the pieces are. And then we're looking at the pieces in relationship to each other. We're taking it apart and putting it back together, but like in a different way than if we were trying to drive this car. We're trying to break this down into shapes that make sense. And so this gives us the beginning of, okay, this is what's actually going on here. So what I knew was if I did this, that you guys would be able to do some of this, but it would be very hard for you to figure out what was going on. But now I feel like you have a better idea of what's going on here. So if we jumped into this, I mean, we have half an hour, but I really want to make sure everybody gets the structure of the first car before we really jump into this second one. Sense?
Mm-hmm.
Tina? Yeah, there's like a set of steps that has to happen. So this is layered knowledge. Oh, and I'm gonna, by the way, give me 1 second. I need to go check on my little guy who's outside. Sure.
Sorry.
And the obligatory, you must admire my cat, because he's. Here's the obligatory admire my cat picture. Hi.
Very cute.
Wonderful.
Sandra wants me to weigh him. Sandra, I'm afraid. I know that people say he's too fat. I don't think he's really fat. I think he's big boned.
That's what I say about me too.
Full model.
Right? Me too, right? I'm big boned too.
I had a,
And my bones has grown so much during the pandemic.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
they expanded.
Better. One. Yep, better.
I had a cat once I called all Coke and no cat.
There we go. I'm just looking, Julia, to, yes, so your car is a little sportier because you've got this angle going up a little bit more extreme on the side here. So it looks shorter, right? If you look at this shape, and I'm just saying, if you're wanting to copy this car in this shape, right? Compare this to this, the grille, to how does that relate to the bottom of the car to where the windows are? You'll see that the windows are higher.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit lower, right? So once again, I'm just looking at areas where yours looks different to show you how to adjust.
Mm. It's
Uh,
like the old thing, isn't it? How do you get to Limerick? You don't want to start from here.
right?
I
Right?
think I started in the wrong place. So
Catherine, that's a lot better. 1, 2, 3. Good. I like those things. Catherine, draw the line down here
Okay,
so that you can see how closely these shapes all align. Because here's where the halfway point of the car is
hmm
from the bottom. So draw your line straight down and you're going to see there are some things that need to be corrected. But it's better. Look at your wheel, right? Look at these sides of the door. Those might not be easy to see, but you can see them on if you pull up the WhatsApp thread. I can.
hmm
So it's better though. It's better.
Thank you.
Yeah, like this is the number of sides there are to this car. There's just a lot of sides to cars. It's not just like this is a flat surface. This is going out like this, and then this comes down, and then this kind of bends in, right? A car
Mhm.
is not a flat surface. This is kind of. Getting there. You guys are getting there. Anyway, we're learning, right?
Mhm.
Right. Definitely.
And to me, I mean, I am constantly practicing cars and I don't even think I've got cars. This is actually helping me understand some things about cars and I paint them all the time. Which I think will help me improve my cars, which is that there's more planes than I think they are, particularly on the top and anyway, yeah. Hey, boo. Anybody have anything fun planned for the weekend?
No.
Diana, I know.
No.
Mm. That's so sad. Nobody had good plans for the weekend.
This is it.
Please, I couldn't answer.
Here I am torturing you with this fucking car.
So sad.
With this car. But you guys are in there, so I feel like it's worth it. Let's see. Okay, Bettina, where are we at? All right, so I'm looking at this one. 1, 2. Wait.
You're better.
Yep, that's in good shape. I'm just checking your measurements here. So there's still something weird about Bettina, about your backside. Everything's looking too far away. So I'm just checking this measurement.
I
Oh,
can't figure it out.
this is a little bit too long. You have this side a little bit too long. It's
Which
kind
side?
of like this.
I can't see what you're
Oh,
pointing to.
sorry, here we go. You have this side a little bit too long, and it's only coming out about 2 millimeters, but it makes a huge difference. So you need to carve this in. And then let's check. this wheel is just a little bit taller than the grill. It's about the same size as the grill. So if I take this wheel and I put it on the side, right? Or I take the grill measurement and I put it on the side, this is the space between the two wheels. So you're just a titch too long, which doesn't seem like a lot, but makes a massive difference on paper. So a 2 millimeter difference is a big real estate difference when you're trying to draw something correctly or not. So that's the first thing, is I checked that and I could see you were expanding just a bit too much out here. Now use the grill to help you figure out where the pieces start and finish. Once you get where the two wheels are, you should be able to get where this window goes, and that line goes. So yeah. And notice I'm not just using anything, I'm picking the thing that we're kind of using all throughout for measuring, right? I'm picking the things that we kind of have established as a correct measure. If you measure something against a wrong measure, then you're screwed, right? Then it doesn't help you. The back wheel, Osiris, needs to be an oval, not a circle. So make your oval, the back wheel is this shape. Here, watch. Here, oh, sorry. Here, I'm going to take this off. So you guys can see this. The back wheel is not, so your back wheel is like this. That's the shape of your back wheel. But really, the back wheel is shaped like this. Straight on the sides, curved on the top and the bottom. Right? Yours looks a little like a football going this way. So that's how you get the back wheel. Then you can add this line and this line in under the bottom. Jackie, looking better. Yeah, looking much better. However, I hate to tell you this. If you measure your grill, so remember, we measured our grill from top to bottom here and saw that this is taller. Do that measurement on your car and see what happens.
When you say grill, which
The
bit do
grill
you?
is this, everything that's here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Grill, the front of the car, right?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm not very techie, so I would just say front of the car, but I get you.
The front of the car can mean many different things. This is the car, this is the front of the car, and this is the front of the car. So the grill
Okay.
in the very front.
Yes.
This measurement, and you'll see the problem.
Yes.
And see that it has a correction.
Yes.
So Osiris, what Christina pointed out at the beginning of class is that these wheels look oval, even though we know they're actually perfectly round like a pie. But because of perspective, they look skinnier and kind of squashed in like an oval. That's what's happening. Good job. You guys are doing great. I just want to say that you guys are doing fucking great. This is like super hard. All right. Oh, looking much better. Rashmi, great. Let's see, I'm gonna do some measurements. Make sure you're not drifting. Nope, okay, front looks good. So Rash, this line looks like it's slanting down a little bit. So you may wanna just straighten that up, or maybe it's how you've drawn the tire. This line needs to be horizontal and this is curved, right? This is straight out.
I drew it upside down just because I couldn't get it any longer like that.
And you're kind of missing.
Yeah.
You see, if you look at this line, that you've got your window expanded a little. So look at this line to help you structure your windshield, the side of the car, and this window shape. So you're kind of like, you're just slanting down, right? Like that. Actually, it's like here and down. And so look at this shape, and this shape on. And so look at this shape, and this shape on this side of the line. Here, I will put it up close, but it's much better. Really, really much better. And I'm glad you used that piece if that's what helps you. Looking upside down. You guys are killing it. You're killing it. Am I like positive? Torturing you with this car. How is it going for you, Diana? Coming along?
I can send it over. It's, you know, I thought that the proportions of my canvas and your paper was about the same, but they were not. So
So now you're having to adjust some things. That right?
yeah, but
Right.
I can. It looks like a car, even if it doesn't look like this car.
I get it. That is a very, by the way, because I'm getting there, Catherine, so much better.
Thank you.
However, wheel is
Yeah.
to compare the size of this wheel to this wheel. You'll see your back
Yeah,
wheel.
it's too small.
Yep.
I see that.
But you guys are getting there. You're so getting there. This is so great. And Bettina, this is looking much better. See how you get that, and this can get a little bit taller. You can do the same thing. You can kind of measure this against this one. Good job. That looks so much better. Yay! You're getting it. You're getting it. Dang cars. Cars suck. Cars are challenging. I'm very proud of you guys. This is super hard. You're doing great.
Send another one. Oh, wow. That's amazing, Diana.
Oh,
it's
wow.
No, it's not.
Beautiful.
But so I think I'll have to make it like a really just not very clear picture of a car for it to work, as the proportions are wrong.
You did that in like 5 minutes too. It's amazing.
I didn't.
I think it's wonderful.
Let's see.
It's beautiful.
Come on, Diana. It's coming along.
I sent you my card too. I hope it works out.
That looks like a real car.
Diana, the base.
I
see
know.
what you're saying, but
Yeah,
I want to tell you the base is right. So the first thing I looked at is 1/4, 3/4, and that is working. And that's why. So yeah, I know he's like coming in a little narrow on the top,
Yeah,
but
it
that
is.
doesn't bother me as much because you can't, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Wow.
Good job. Good job. That's why that works. Oh, it's coming along, Christina. For some reason, you're slanting these lines up. These should be straight across.
Okay. By the way, I'm not supposed to, but I really like drawing with the number 8 pencil more than the HB pencil.
Yeah,
It glides a little better.
it's a totally different lead content, much more lead.
Is it harder to erase? It feels like.
Hi.
I think I'm gonna say goodbye because my little doggy says she wants to go out.
All right, Diana.
See
Really
you.
nice work today. Really.
Bye,
really-
Diana.
Bye. Good seeing you all.
See you soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Teddy, get off. Mhm. Come on. You want me to take you back out again? Give me 1 second, guys.
That big guy.
myself. You wanna go up? Okay, let's see. Everything's looking more slanted. Straight?
No, I just clicked that top part just to see
Oh, I
that.
see. Okay,
Maybe because my table is slanted and I'm sitting. Maybe that's why it's looking like.
right.
And click again.
Coming along.
Yeah.
Notice how much space your window takes up compared to the side. So the window should take up about 1/3 of the side of the car. It looks to me like your windows are too low down, right? They're taking about half the size. You're getting there. Oh, Catherine, that was the ticket.
Yeah,
This line is too small. This tire is too small. It needs to come
okay,
further out because it's bigger, right?
yeah.
And this is really a straight line. Here, I'm gonna take a picture of this close up so you can really see it,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
So because the real trick with the car is that not only does every piece of the car like kind of have its sides, the tire has a front and a side. The windshield has a front and a side. The windows have fronts and sides. It's ridiculous. Everything has fronts and sides. All right, we got 10 minutes left. So let's do one more correction.
Leah, can you check if my grill is a better size now?
Yes. Let's see. Okay. So I'm double checking two things. One, okay, that's right. It's not quite yet. I want you to look at the measurement here. So I'm not measuring from the bottom of the tire. I'm measuring from the bottom of the grill to the top.
Uh-huh. Yep,
This,
right.
straight up.
Oh, but it's, oh, I see. So that you're looking at a spot above the car.
Yeah.
Aha.
Aha. Everybody made that mistake, including me. There you go.
Yeah, I see. Ah,
And that probably helps a lot.
it does.
Yeah. So funny.
I guess I don't see why that left back tire, right back tire, is a straight line. No, the front tire, I'm sorry, is a straight line.
Because
The over one,
tire, this one here,
yes, that one there.
this is a straight line because this is the front.
Ah, okay,
Bottom goes like this, and then the
Yep.
side goes like that. Right?
okay, thank you.
Yep. So it's side, technically side that we can't see here, and then this is a side we can't see here.
Yeah,
Central side. So I used to have an art teacher in Russia, no, in Armenia. He was an Armenian guy. He didn't speak any English. He spoke Russian. I only spoke English, like the idiot American I was. And he taught me drawing. And I've always remembered what Jacob told me. And I would travel like on a minibus to like this crazy old city and outside of Yerevan where I lived, and to a hotel where he would give me a lesson and the hotel clerks would give me translation if I needed it.
oh, that's great.
Jacob was an amazing experience. And Jacob told me once through translation, you have to draw what is visible and you have to know what is visible and what is invisible. So what he meant by that was, if you're drawing a cup like this, right? You want to know what's here, what I can't see, right? And also, right, the inside of the cup. You have to know what is visible and what is invisible. That had a big impact on me as an artist. I was like, oh, even if I don't see it, I need to know where it would go. Get that? See that? So
Yep.
here, if I put this through the middle, here's the part that I can see. Here's the sides of the cup, even though the cup is rounded, it's the sides, right? I have to draw what's both visible and invisible, is what he told me. It was funny. I went to him to get help with drawing faces, and he had me draw a skull, and then he was like, yeah, we're going to coffee cups. We're not going to faces. No way. You are so not ready for that. And I've been 10 years. That was really a hit. But I remember that. So there's two things going on. So the alternative to that, which is what Sandra brought up yesterday, and Rashmi too, is when we were dealing with figure drawing, is so there's two things. One corollary is you kind of need to know where things go, even if you can't see them in the drawing. That helps you create the proper structure for the drawing. But the other thing is also true, that you don't draw what you can't see. So you need to know, the two corollaries are, right? You need to know what the thing would do if you could see it. So you need to be able to anticipate that. And then you need to be able to, so that you can adjust your shapes. And then you also need to not draw what you can't see. Right? Those two things they play off each other as concepts, and it is very deep. These two ideas go very deep into drawing. What I'm actually trying to teach you are these two concepts. We have to know what we're not drawing. We have to know where it would be, and then we need to not draw it. But you need to know where it is, because as we know, things that we don't see are also connected to the things that we do see, right? Just like any shape. So it's these two elements and ideas kind of interplaying off each other. So yesterday we were looking at a model with, who was good, except she had a drape over her back leg. You couldn't really see the leg. Yes, Catherine, good. Did you raise? Oh, you just did that for the, okay, so you'll just shout. You guys can just stop me in the middle of my constant monologue. But so she had a leg, covered with we were doing a 1 minute pose. She had a leg covered with a shawl. And Sandra said, oh, do I draw the shawl or do I draw the leg? And I'm like, you draw what you see, right? But the corollary is you also know where that, you kind of need to ascertain pretty quickly. So you draw the shawl over or the drape over the leg, but you also kind of need to know what the leg would do if you couldn't see it, because that helps you drape the drape correctly. Does that make sense?
I wasn't going to draw the leg I couldn't see. I was going to leave it blank.
Right, exactly.
Or draw the shawl.
Exactly. And so I was thinking about it, Sandra, because it's a very deep and important question, and it's a good question, and it's an excellent question, and it's just in the moment. So really, with a 1 minute, you have time to maybe do 2 or 3 directional lines for the shawl, right? Almost like gesture for the shawl, but you kind of need to know, right? Because part of that, as that shawl kind of, I'm just saying in general, as that shawl comes over the leg, you need to know what the leg would be doing so that you can drape the shawl correctly. This is why we always draw figures nude at the beginning, because clothes drape in a funny way, and if you don't know what's underneath, you can't, right? You don't know how to, if you don't get the shape of what's underneath, it's hard to draw what's on top. This is also true of a nude figure, right? We actually need to go inside the figure to understand how the muscles and the bones play together to really get all of the structures. But it is a really great question, and I've been thinking about it since you asked it. Like the importance of it as a concept for drawing. So we're asking you as an artist to do two things simultaneously. I'm asking you to just, draw what you can see and also understand how what you can't see is influencing what you can see. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, deep, right? Like really deep. This is the deepness. This is how deep drawing goes. This is how obsessive you can get about it. Really, in the
This
end,
is why I find lost edges difficult sometimes.
right? But you're getting better. Oh, that's great, Osiris. It looks great. I won't. Come on, I promise. Just here, just us. It's just here. That's wonderful. Yeah, this is why we can just keep going deeper in. I was interviewing an artist who's going to be participating in Portland Open Studios, and he's a hyper realist painter, like massively skilled. That guy paints everything, every little teeny tiny detail. And we were talking about how you start, right? And he's like, well, I started as a kid drawing magazine article, pictures. And he said, I just had the obsessive focus of wanting to continue to go back to measure every detail. So if I may have sounded a little obsessive about this car, but that's what makes a drawer a drawer, right? There's a bit of an obsession as we start to measure things against other things. And then it just keeps going deeper. Until you if you want to be a hyper realist, you just keep going back and looking for all the little tiny shapes in between. So there's a kind of obsession about the measuring. Is this right to this? Is this good enough? Right? Like, it's interesting. So, and depending on what kind of work you do, you can kind of get away with certain things, not being exactly correct. Unless, your job is to be correct. Much better, Jackie. Boy, look at that. Yep. Really good. Hey, now, Jackie, I've got one more correction for you. I would minimize the grill a little bit, move this to the left a little bit and extend these out just a little bit more.
Okay.
Yep. Other than that, really good.
I'm going to say goodbye and go grocery shopping.
Great work, Catherine. Wonderful work today. I hope this was
Thank you.
torturous for you.
No, it wasn't. It was good.
I'm glad. I'm really, it is 10 o'clock anyway. So here, hold on. Let me stop the recording.